Wait a little bit. We're holding Daf Tez ו.ב-ט, 15b, Daf Tez ו.ב-ט. And the Gemara, it's on the bottom of the page here, it's right here. Okay? We said the story of the four individuals that entered the orchard, the paradise, and what happened to them. Abzeda and Ben Azai. Ben Azai passed away. Not Ben Zeda, Ben Zoyma. Ben Azai passed away. Ben Zoyma looked at something and he expired. Sorry, he lost his mind. Ben Azai passed away. Ben Zoyma went off the way. Acher, he went and then he afterwards became an Afikoides. He went against the Eberstein. And Rabbi Akiva. So we discussed until now. We discussed. That's Acher. Oh. And then we discussed all of them. In the one that passed away. We discussed how great he. Sorry, the one that went crazy. We discussed his greatness. Then we went into Acher, discussing what he saw, what caused him to go off the way. And we had the Taisvas that said from his childhood. And the Gemara was talking about that he went up there and he saw a Malach sitting, and he questioned it. How can an angel be sitting in Shemayim in the heavens? It says that there's no sitting, there's no tiredness in the heavens. So how is it possible they sat down? And because of that, he went down and he did a verse and he sinned and so on and so forth. So we discussed all of them. Now Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva is the only one that walked in and walked out and nothing happened. So says the Gemara. What's this? So says the Gemara, Rabbi Akiva, 2 lines in the bottom, Rabbi Akiva, all of Shalom, v'all b'shalom. He went up in peace, and he came down in peace. In other versions, it says Nichnas b'shalom, v'yatza b'shalom, that he went in and went out, but it's the same idea that he went into Shemayim, he went into the heavens, and the spiritual heavens, and he went peacefully, and he came down peacefully. And the Rebbe spoke, and we mentioned that this is the answer to everything, because he went in b'shalom, because when he walked in, he had his mind was made up, it was correct, he was thinking the right things, he prepared himself correctly and in the right way. That's why he was able to go out. So the Gemara says, the pasuk says about the Akiva, that he was pulled. Pull me and I will run after you. The pasuk says, if you pull me towards you, I will run towards you. Maybe I was thinking that this is the all of Shalom, the going up and coming down is talking about two opposites, going up and going down. Is also talking about pulling and running. So Rabbi Akiva was this type of guy that, yes, he went into correctly, he attached himself to the Eibishter correctly, and therefore when he went in, he was able to nalutzo, to walk out without a problem. But the truth is, the truth is that when Akiva went up there and used Hashem's name, he used Hashem's covet, his honor, by using Hashem's name to get up into the heavenly worlds. The Malach Hashadas, the angels, wanted to push him out, wanted to push him away and punish him. Afa Akiva Biksha Malach Hashadas, they wanted to push him. Amalek Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibusha said, Hanichel Zaken, that leave this elderly person. Shalol Eshtamish B'Choydi, he is worthy of using my name and using my honor to get up here. So why was Rabbi Akiva saved? What did he do different than the others? Yes, he went in correctly, but that means he prepared himself. Rabbi Azai, Ben Azai, it says he looked at something where he wasn't supposed to, and that's what would happen. Ben Zoyma, he also went to a certain place and he died and expired. How did Rabbi Akiva make sure not to cross that line? What did he do? And where did he learn that from? So for the Gemara, what did Rabbi Akiva learn differently than Acher, Ben Azai, and Ben Zoyma that did not cause him to either go off the way, or Chaz Hashem lose his mind, or die? What did he do different? Amar Rabbi said, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Which pasuk did he use? He used the pasuk that says V'asa Mediv V'Skodesh. Next page. V'asa Mediv V'Skodesh. That it says at the end of Dvarim, in the beginning of the Pasha of V'Zes V'Lacha, that Moshe Rabbeinu said, V'Yoyman, Moshe Rabbeinu said, Hashem is Sinai Baal. Hashem came from Sinai. V'zach misei lama, he sprouted from one side, and then the pasuk says v'asa milivas kodesh. V'asa is Aramaic. It's not lashon kodesh. It's not the whole tongue. It's Aramaic. He should have said uva milivas kodesh. He came. So the Rabbi Akiva made a drash. The reason he used the pasuk v'asa is to say oisu b'dvava. We had last week v'dachil bita ba imatzoyin. Dachil, the daughter of Lavan, came with the goats. She walked with the goats. What does the Targum say? Ba'a is the lashon nekeva, the female version of ba, of coming. So it's a female way of saying someone is coming. In Targum, it also uses the female version of asa, asya. Targum says asya. But in the Aramaic version of uva, of coming, is asa. Now the question is, this is explanation according to the Mashal. The question Rabbi Akiva was asking himself is, why does the pasuk use an Aramaic term to say the Eibishter came? He should have said uba. Just like the beginning of the pasuk, it says Misinai ba, he came from Sinai. Why is he all of a sudden changing to a different language in the same pasuk? Why? Why is the pasuk doing that? Because he wants to teach us another thing. Not only did the Eibishter have come to these places, but ve'asa milivas kodesh. The pasuk Rashi says milivas kodesh means the Eibishter that came with a lot of angels. Milivas is a ton of angels. So Rabbi Akiva was teaching. He explained ve'asa means that the Eibishter, between all these angels, the Eibishter sticks out like an ois, like a sign. So Rabbi Akiva told himself, when I come to these ministering angels, I will see the Eibishter because I will recognize it. And as soon as I see that, I'm not going to look. Because once I look, I'm going to have a problem. Unlike Achel, which looked, and he looked at the angels, and he saw Matatale, and then he saw him sitting, and therefore he started making a whole cheshbonis, why is he standing, why is he sitting? Rabbi Akiva said, I'm not going to have that problem, because I know where not to look. I know where to say, here is where angels stop, and here is where godliness starts. And I'm not going to look beyond it and past it. And therefore he didn't die, he didn't go crazy, and he didn't, Chaz Shalom, go off the way. So that was Rabbi Akiva. Abava Amal Dogul Milvava. He is Dogul, he's greater, he's exalted. Preeminent is the way they have the English translation. Dogul Milvava, that the Eibishter is more eminent, is bigger, higher, more exalted, Milvava, from all his angels. The Vava goes in his angels. The Eibishter was said that the Eibishter has tens of thousands of angels. What does it teach? Dugmahu Milvava Shaloi. Even with all the angels, Dugmahu, he's a sample, you can find him easily. So Rabbi Akiva said the same thing, and it's the same explanation as before, just from a different pasuk. Rabbi Akiva said, when I reach a certain stage, Lamaila in the heavens, I will stop and I will not look where I'm not supposed to. The Shlakish says, Hashem Tzavakas Shemoi. We know that we don't pronounce, when we daven, we say, when we see the Yud Kevavke, we say Adoi, right? Anoi. Where does Adoi come from? That comes from the word Adoi, the master. Hashem Tzavakas Shemoi, that the Adoi hu b'tzava shaloi. But Tzavakas is his army. So the Eibishter is a master in his army. So within his armies, the Akiva said, I will recognize where Hashem's area is, his place is, and I will not look there. So everyone is from a different pasuk learned it. Rabbi Akiva Abba, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, said, this is a story with Eliyahu Novi. Eliyahu Novi, one of the most, probably the saddest stories in Jewish history, brought down in Tanakh, is a time when Achav and his wife Izebel, the king Achav in Israel, and his wife Izebel killed killed almost all of the prophets, almost all of the Nevi'im. And at Achav, it's at the beginning of the Perek, beginning of the chapter, Achav goes to his wife Izebel and tells her what I did, that I killed everyone. And then he said also that the Eliyahu basically slipped through the cracks and he's still out there somewhere. So she sent a message somehow to Eliyahu that beware, because I'm after you. I'm going to catch you and I'm going to get you. I'm going to kill you. Eliyahu Navi, Elijah the prophet. So Eliyahu Navi ran away. It says he ran away. He went into a cave. He went this. And he fell asleep, and a malach woke him up and he told him you have to eat. No, he didn't go to a cave. He went somewhere in Beersheba, and he fell asleep. And a malach woke him up, and he told him, he was asking Hashem, please take me away from this world. And then he was going to die in her hands. Why should I die in her hands? Let me die in Hashem's hands. And he fell asleep. An angel woke him up and told him eat and drink. He found a cake and a bottle of a flask of water by his feet, and he ate and drank and he fell asleep again. And malach woke him up again and says you need to eat and drink more, because you have to go far away. So he ate again, he drank, and it says, the pasuk says that he walked with the energy that he gets from this eating and drinking. He walked 40 days and 40 nights until he reached a cave. He went inside a cave, and inside a cave he had a nevuah. He heard a heavenly voice, or something. The Eibishter sent him a message, and he asked him, what's going on? Why are you running away? Where are you running to? What's the problem? So he said again, I was trying to stand up with the honor of Hashem, and with my other prophets, and everyone got killed, and I'm running away from this queen and king, and what's the point? What's my purpose being here? Let me die. So the Eibishter said, through the Malach, the Eibishter gave him a message: go outside of the cave. So he walked outside of the cave, and this is where the pasuk starts here. The pasuk says, "Vayoyim the heavenly voice told Eliyahu Navi, go out. I'm reading of the pasuk. Stand in the mountain, the Fnei Hashem, in front of Hashem. Vehine Hashem oiven, the Eibishter walks by, will pass by. Veruach gedoyla v'chazek, and there's going to be a stormy wind. Mefadik halim, that breaks apart, takes apart, dismantles mountains. U'mashabes loim, breaks rocks. The Fnei Hashem. This is the wind that walks in front of Hashem. But the Eibishter tells Eliyahu Navi, loy beruach Hashem. In this wind, this awesome storm that's happening, that's not the God. After this wind, there's going to be a noise, an awesome noise, a very loud noise. Loy beruach Hashem, that's not the way the Eibishter is to be found. After the noise is going to be fire. Loy beruach Hashem. All these different things represent different angels of fire, angels of wind. And these are all malachim, these are angels, this is not Hashem. After the fire, there's going to be it's going to be quiet. It's going to be silent. And in this silence, this is where Hashem is at. And basically, he tells him, and the story goes on that Eliyahu walked out and he saw that. He waited until it became very quiet, and then he heard a heavenly voice. The Eibishter spoke. As soon as that the quiet came, he wrapped himself in the talis, and he wrapped himself so he shouldn't see the Shekhinah, shouldn't see the Eibishter. And then he spoke with the Eibishter, and the Eibishter asked him, and the Eibishter gave him a message, and the story goes on from there. But the Rabbi Akiva learned from Eliyahu Navi the same way. I'm going to go to a place, I'm going to see noise, I'm going to see fire. Once I hit the place of silence, there I know, don't look further, don't try to find out what's going on around there. Don't look, don't peek, and I'll be fine. So that's what the pasuk says. Tana Rabbanu. Okay, now that we finished with this entire story, the Gemara is just going to finish off with an interesting anecdote. And the Gemara is going to say, Acher, in his story, we said that Acher, he heard behind the curtain. He told his student of Meir, he told the other Yochanan, that I can't do tshuva because I heard behind the curtain. Everyone can return and make tshuva besides Acher, besides him. So when once mentioned this curtain, the Gemara is going to mention another thing about this curtain. We know that in the world there are demons, shadim. Demons. We have stories of ב-ט, famous stories that they always say in camp, with all the shadim stories. But they are shadim. The shadim can take on themselves they can look like a person, they can fly. So the Gemara is going to describe exactly what they are, what they look like. There's 6 things that are mentioned that are said about a shade. 6 things that he can do. Three of them are like the malach hashaz, like an angel, like a holy angel. But 3 things, they are like human beings. The 3 things that they resemble like angels. Yeshlam kanafayim, they have wings, just like the angels. V'tasin mitzoyfa oil ma'abzoyfa, and they can fly from one corner of the world to the other corner of the world. If you have wings, you obviously can fly. But the Mashal explains what is he trying to say here? That the malach hashadas, they can reach areas that human beings cannot reach. Maybe it's either talking about mountains that human beings cannot climb, or talking about places that are hot or cold, where it's too hot or too cold for human beings to go to. This is because of the wings, they can get to wherever they want. So basically, the angels have wings. They can fly into every corner of the world. They're not limited like us human beings. The third thing that happens with the malach hashas, yoidin, The Shadim, the demons, know the future. They know what's going to happen in the future, just like the angels. The angels don't know the future. The angels don't know the future. You really think that the demons can tell the future just like the angels? Even the angels cannot tell the future. The demons can listen from behind the curtain to what the Eibishter is saying, what God is saying, what will happen in the future, just like the Malachim, the Malachashas, the angels can listen from behind the curtain and hear what the Eibishter is talking about, and that's why they know the future. They themselves don't know the future, they can only repeat what they hear. So that's the three things that the demons are likened to the Malachim, to the angels. What are they likened to human beings? Shloisha, three things that are like a human being. They have to eat and drink like human beings. They multiply and expand just like us human beings. And they die just like us human beings. Then the Gemara goes on and says, 6 things that said about us human beings. 3 of things that we have, that we do, it's just like the angels. 3 things we're just like a cow, like an animal. The 3 things that we are likened to an angel. Yeshulaim das. We us human beings have the wisdom, or should have the wisdom, just like the angels. They're not unlike animals. Do not have a das. They don't have bina. They don't have das. They don't have any wisdom, any knowledge. But the malachim have. The angels have. Us human beings also have. We walk upright, just like the malachim, like the angels. And we can talk in Lashon HaKodesh, in the holy tongue, in Hebrew, but not Hebrew, in the Lashon HaKodesh. The Mashah asks here a simple question. Many of us do not speak Lashon HaKodesh. And not only that, when we sit together, we actually don't speak Lashon HaKodesh. Lashon HaKodesh is the holy tongue, it's not even the Hebrew. So what does it mean that we are just like the angels? So it's 2 answers. One answer is that the most accepted answer is that when the Eibishter created the world, that everyone spoke Lashon Kodesh. Everyone spoke the language until Babel, until the Tower of Babel, when the language just got split up. But until then, everyone spoke Lashon Kodesh. Another answer is that it doesn't mean that you actually have to speak Lashon Kodesh, but you have the ability to speak. If you have the ability to speak, you can also speak Lashon Kodesh. You just have to learn it. You have to learn it. But you have the ability to speak, unlike an animal that does not have the ability to speak. Okay. What are we like an animal? We eat and we drink like just like animals. We multiply and just like animals. And we also, once we eat, we have to secrete, we have to put out, there has to be an output, just like an animal, that when an animal eats, the animal also has to go to the bathroom. So, he mentions here 3 things that the shade and the demons are like malachim. The fact that they have wings, we don't have wings. The fact that they can fly around the world, we can't do that. And the fact that they can listen to behind the curtain, we cannot do that. But the 3 things that they liken us to a human being, it's the same thing by the animals. Why doesn't it say the demons?
It doesn't say.
What?
By the malach, the Shaden, it says that they die.
Right.
And
but the animals also die.
It doesn't say that.
Right, but basically the animals die. Malachim,
these said 4 things.
Not 4 things. It could have said. Why limit yourself to these 3 things? And number 1, why do you just leave us alone? Shadim, you have like angels and you have like animals. It's the same thing. Just skip the human beings. It's also a little bit of to say that the human beings are like animals. So they explain it's very simple. So Taisus says a word and says yes, like he could have said more things. But they explain it's very simple. The Mashar explains very simple. There's 2 types of eating and 2 types of piri of being multiplying yourself, being fruitful and multiplying yourself. There's the concept, the fact that you just do it. People just we have female, male, female get together, get married, and we have kids. Same thing in an animal, a male animal, a female animal, then you have offspring. That's the general concept. Then there's the detail. Eating food also, there's a detail. Animals eat, human beings eat, but we don't eat the same thing as animals. We don't eat the hay. We don't eat the stuff that the animals eat. They can eat the grass. We don't eat that. But the same thing is also with dying. Explain that the demons, when they eat, they don't eat. You can't say they eat like animals, because what he wants to teach you, the demons actually eat real human food. They cannot eat just anything. They have to eat real human food. So that's why they're liking us, not in the general concept, but also in the detailed concept, that they have to eat real food.
It also doesn't say that the moitzim reib kebehema.
So I don't know if they are. The Tosha says they actually have to. Once they take in, they have to put out. Once they're taken, they have to put out. But he mentions these three things specifically because he wants to say that even though you can technically say they're just like animals, but I want to tell you that the demons are not. They are like human beings. They have to eat normal food. They have to drink normal drinks. When they do pidiv, they do it like human beings, not like animals do it. Not like animals do it. And when they die, the demons can actually become elevated and go, and the neshamas, whatever they have, they can go higher and higher. Unlike animals, once they die, it's done. They may be going into a next, become an animal again or something, but they don't have when animals, when they die, they don't have an aliyah. When we shecht an animal and eat it, the sparks of the animal go up, but the neshama of the animal itself does not go up. So he wants to say that the demons have the ability, if they do the right things, they have the ability to, just like a human being, that has the ability to work on himself, and once it passes on, he goes up levels upon levels. Once it passes on to the world to come, the same thing also the demons can do that as well. That's why he says it in these categories. The fact that a human being is just like an animal is in a general category. We eat, we drink, we have kids, and we make. But with demons, we wanted to say the more details.
The Balsham's got rid of them. Obviously, there wasn't such a thing that they. Not obviously, but seemingly it seems then they didn't necessarily go up.
That means
there was something which would cause damage, and something which would.
Apparently they were not needed at the time, or somehow he managed to eradicate them. I don't know. Maybe they had a certain job to do.
They could go up, which means they cause good.
They could cause good technically, but most of them did not. Most of them did not. Okay. Well, that finishes the Agadata. We're gonna have just a little bit more until we get to the Mishnah. Finish that tonight. In the beginning of this first Mishnah in this Perek, in this chapter, one of the things it mentioned is that if someone looks very deeply at four things, he's worthy that he should have not been born. What are the four things? Ma'ala ma'ala, ma'ala mata, what's above, what's below, what's in front, what's in back. And what is the explanation? Ma'ala ma'ala, we said that we brought on the Merkava, the chariot, with all the levels, and we went up till the pasuk describes the highest level, and the Eibusher sits there, but that's where the buck stops. We don't speak above what's above that. To analyze, trying to figure out what's above that, the Mishnah says you're not allowed. You cannot think what's above the Eibusher, what's above the world. Malamata is also what's holding up the world. We read all these things that the world stands on pillars, that stands on water, it stands on this, but what's that standing on? So we cannot contemplate on that as well. Malachon and Malachah means what was before the creation of the world. Malachah, what's going to be when what's going to be when Mashiach comes? What's going to be when Mashiach comes? Okay, so that's what the Mishnah is saying, that these things are not allowed. You cannot think. So this one, I was going to ask a simple question. I understand that contemplating, thinking about what's above the Eibusher, what's above the Merkava, the chariot. Yeah, don't go there. That's not honor. That's not covered to discuss about the Eibusher. What's below, also not. I get it, because we are asking. We're kind of like asking and questioning Hashem's ways. What's going to be in the future? Also, the future is something that only Eibusher knows. The future. What does the Rambam say about Mashiach? That we won't know what's going to be with Mashiach until it happens. Even the biggest Chacham do not know what Mashiach looks like. We have an idea, very basic idea. There's going to be the wolf is going to live with the lamb, but that's very general ideas. What's going to be after the world gets destroyed and the Eibusher recreates the entire world? We don't know, and questioning that is also going against the Munah, is against the Eibish's faith. The Eibish said, don't question that. But why can't you question, why can't you contemplate and think about what happened before the creation of the world? It happened already. It's something that in the past. Why can't we discuss something that happened in the past?
Is audio Teratov Apicorsis?
Isn't that the most questioned thing?
What?
Isn't the most questioned thing what was before creation and the whole?
So we're not supposed to.
Exactly. So why is it? What you're saying?
Our
Why
philosophy,
is it saying you shouldn't
I believe the philosophers try to discuss that. And we're going to actually discuss it. It's an interesting point, this whole thing, what happened before. So that's what the Gemara is asking. The Chayla, talking about what happened before the creation of the world should be allowed. We discuss the creation of the world, we discuss everything. Once you look into Chassidus and Kabbalah, we discuss even more details, that there was an oil, there was a light, and it was taken, and then you have to take a little space, and in that space, the Eibusha created the world. But so we discuss more things. But why can't we really discuss what was before? What was before the entire thing? So, what was the Eibusha doing? What was the Eibusha busy with? We can't because our limited minds will never go to the right place. So that's what the Gemara is discussing. Why can't we ask what was before? Call him Stako, the wide lines. Call him Stako, the Dvalim, whoever looks and contemplates about these four things. The Dosterloi, he's worthy, Shaloi, Ba'al, should have not been born. And what are the four things? Like we said, yeah, I understand. What's above the chariot? What's above the worlds? I get it. Malamata, what's below the worlds? I get it. Malach, what's going to be in the future? Lechaya, I get all these things. Lechaya, yeah, I get it. I'm fine. And Lefanim, what happened before the creation of the world? Madahava, it happened already. So what difference does it make if we discuss it? So Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Elazar both said, Moshe Melech, they brought a parable. An example of a king. Parable of a king, Basav Adam, a Melech, a king of flesh and blood. Sha'amal Avadav told his servants, Bnuli Paltidin, Gedolim, build me a castle, build me a palace, Al Ha'ashpa, on a mountain of dirt, of garbage. Holchu Banaloi, and they went and built them this castle. Now, after they built the castle, if you go to the king and says, "Oh, you have a very nice castle. It's built on a mountain of garbage," it's not covered. It's like going against the king. The king does not want to be reminded that he built a castle on garbage. The will of the king is that he should never mention that the fact that this castle, this palace, was built on a mound of garbage. So this is the example. This is the parable. The nimshal is same with the Eibusha. The Eibusha built the world on toyu, on nothing. The Eibusha doesn't want to be reminded what was before. But everyone has difficulties with this because the parable does not fit. What was before is not considered garbage. Why is it? What was before the world? Nothing. There was even nothing didn't exist then. We don't even know what was before. So what kind of example is this? So they explain that, and here's where it goes into philosophy. The Mashar explains a very beautiful explanation. And really, the only reason I understood it because we learned Chassidus. In Chassidus and Kabbalah, there's something called the Koyach HaHiyuli. Some heard, the Koyach HaHiyuli. Koyach HaHiyuli is the Greek term for soyu. Soyu is chaos. Koyach HaHiyuli is toyu. Toyu is where all the lights were in there. We know in Quran says that all the sparks of lights were in toyu. And then there was a shviras hakelim, something broke, and all the lights spilled out. But from this, the entire world happened. From this breakage, from this koyach hayuli, from this soyu, this entire thing happened. So they explain that as far as our mind can go, we can think about the koyach hayuli, about this place hayuli, the toyu, that the Eibusha created toyu, and we know actually a page or two ago. We said that one of the things that the Eibusha created in the first day of creation was Toyu Vavoyu. He created the chaos. And then in that space, he created afterwards the world. The furthest our limited minds can go is to Toyu. That's the furthest we can go. What was before creation? Toyu. Now, for us to say the Eibusha build the world on Toyu is just like telling the Eibusha that you build the world on garbage. Basically, the Eibusha is saying, you're telling the Eibusha that you build the world on chaos. That the Eibusha doesn't want you to say, because the truth is that is kfila. That's mamish going against the Eibishter. The Eibishter created the world me'ayin liyash, from nothing to something. And for you to say that if you start to think with your limited mind, oh, I'm going to go back and I'm going to learn Chassidus and Kabbalah and everything, and I'm going to figure out what was before, the furthest you can reach is Toy Vavoy. That's the furthest you're going to reach. And then basically that comes the mashal of the Ashba. Yeah, you're going to tell the Eibishter that you build a world in Toy, that you can't say that. So basically that's the mashal and the nimshal as the Mashal explains, that is a koyach hayuli, and this is the furthest you're going to go. And considering that the Eibishter built the world in Yuli is as like saying that the Eibishter that someone built a palace on garbage. And to say that is clear. Anyways, that's the story. The Mishnah then continues on and says 5 lines from the wide lines. The Mishnah continues on and says that if someone does not have the proper honor for the Eibishter, he's worthy of not being born. Kol shlichas al kvoidoi, al kvod koinai, whoever does not have the proper honor for the Eibishter, Dasiloi is worthy of not being born. What is the honor? What are we talking about? The honor. What's this honor we're talking about? Mahi. Rab Abba says the honor is the amistakel bekeshes. If someone looks at a rainbow, you're going against the Eibishter. Rabbi Yosef says if someone makes an aveda while in hiding. The Gemara is going to explain everything. Mistakel bekeshes. If someone looks into a rainbow, what's the problem? D'chsiv kemaya keshes ashiyah be'onon b'yom hageshem kein maya noiga soviv. It says by the vision of Yecheskel that he saw a vision that looked like a rainbow, just like a rainbow appears in the sky on a rainy day. The same thing also, Yecheskel saw a vision that looked like a rainbow there. So therefore, looking at a rainbow is considered looking at the Eibishter's. One second. Looking at a very good question. We're looking at the rainbow is just like looking at the Eibishter, and therefore we shouldn't do it. Rabbi Yosef says, if someone makes an aveda in hiding, Rabbi Yitzchak said that if you do a sin in hiding, you're pushing away God's feet. Shenema, Koyem Hashem, Hashemayim Kisid. Hashem said, God said, the heavens is my chair, and the earth, the land, is where I rest my legs upon. Now, if you're down in this world and you decide to go hiding and make an aveda, you're pushing away God's legs which are on this world. The Gemara is going to go, and we're going to get back to your question in a second. The Gemara asks a very simple question. The Gemara asks a simple question. We had this Gemara in Moed Katan. It says that if someone has a taiva, someone is lusting to do something really bad, the Gemara says he should travel to a different city, should put on black clothing, enclose himself in a black robe, and in a city that no one knows him, and do whatever he needs there. And why? What's the reason? Because once no one knows you, it's you rather do an aveda in a place that no one knows you, that the aveda is going to be much less, because no one knows you. You can do it in hiding, and no one's going to see.
No publicity.
No publicity, yeah. So we see that sometimes we say that I would rather you do an aveda in hiding than do it publicly, which means basically that Hashem doesn't want you to do an aveda publicly. And here we say that only in hiding is he pushed away the Hashem's legs. The opposite. When you do it publicly, when you're really not afraid of anyone, that's when you're pushing away Hashem's legs. So what's Ein is that the one? The elderly Ila said, if a person sees that he has a lust, his Yetzirah is powerful, is more powerful than him, he should go to a place that no one knows him. He should enclose himself and guard himself in black. He should do whatever his heart desires. He should not desecrate Hashem's name in public. So we see that we rather him do the aveda and hiding than do it publicly. Publicly, you push away Hashem's legs. And for the Gemara, a simple answer: we're talking about in a place, we're talking about if a person, if he works on himself, he can push the Yetzer Hara away. The Maseches Chagiga, he can push the Yetzer Hara away. If that's the case, I rather, if you can push the Yetzer Hara away, don't even do it in hiding. Why? Because if you can push it away, if you go to hiding and then do it, it feels like, okay, the Eibush is not looking at me, then I'm pushing the Eibush's leg. The loy Maseches Chagiga, we're talking about a person that has such a lust, he cannot control it, he cannot overpower the Yetzer Hara. So then I say, rather do it in hiding. So if you have the power to overpower the Yetzer Hara, if you're strong enough, even in hiding, you can do it. And if you do it in hiding, you're pushing away Hashem's legs. If you can't, your Yetzer Hara is so strong you can't do it, then obviously then go hide somewhere. So before we get to that answer, the question. So basically, the Ilah Azal can tell someone, if you have such a strong Yetzer Hara, go somewhere else and do what you need. Doesn't make sense. Says the Rabbi Chanan right here. It is. Yeah. This Gemara that's in the bottom.
This Gemara is halfway down.
Halfway down. The Rabbi Chanan says like this. 3 lines from the bottom on this Gemara. V'hotanya. Rabbi Chanan, v'hotanya. I'm not sure where it's in the blue Gemara. Said halfway down.
Halfway down on the left side.
I'm going to tell you what it says. Chanan basically says, if a person that v'hotanya realizes that he should do an avela, says Rabbi Chanan, chaz v'sholem she'iloi azoken. It's not even, you can't even think about that the Eloi Zaken would allow someone hitil lave avel cloud, that he would allow him to make an avel. El kacha, but this is what Eloi Zaken says. If a person sees that his Yetzer Hara is too strong, in what? Eating and drinking and singing. We had in the Gemara Medkat and we had in other places, and at the end of Soita it says that at the end of the days, it brings a lot of the things that happened by the destruction of Beis Hamikdash. One of the things it didn't allow for people to do is sit and eat and drink and have music, because that goes against the Chut Beis Hamikdash. So if you have that avela, you have such a time to eat and drink and sing and have musical instruments, and what will happen eventually is you'll get so drunk that you'll make avela. So what did Rabbi Elazar say? Go to a different place, dress in dark, and clothe yourself and robe yourself in darkness. Why? Not to make an aveda, to break Yetzer Hara. Because once you go to a different place, once you're a guest somewhere else, you're not going to have the same divas. It says that there's a Gemara that says, Kadamrinon, Kalba v'loy Mosei, Shef Shnin loy Novach. A dog, if it's not in his hometown, 7 years he doesn't bark. So basically, go somewhere else, dress yourself in black garments, and what will happen is not that you can do whatever you want. What will happen is you'll break the Yetzer Hara, and then he teaches. What does the Gemara say? Then eventually you will do what your heart really desires, which means doing Torah mitzvahs. That's the way that Rabbi Chanan explains this Gemara. Beautiful, very nice. Tosfos does not agree. Tosfos says, do whatever you want. Don't go to another city, have fun, do whatever you want. So basically Tosfos says it doesn't make sense to explain this way, because it doesn't work out with the rest of the Gemara. That's the whole Tosfos and Rashi. But interesting. So that's an interesting point. Now we're going to go back to your question about looking at a keshes, looking at a rainbow. Is it allowed? The Gemara says you're not allowed to look at a rainbow, but we have a bracha, right? There's a bracha that we make when we see a rainbow. We make a blessing that we saw the rainbow. So the Gemara weiter. Dash Rabbi Yehuda ben Nachmani meturgamane de Rosh Lakish. The Rabbi Nachmani, the meturgaman, the one that would give over the Torah of Rosh Lakish. He was a Talmud Chacham in his own right. He took up and he was dashing Gaza. This was his dasha. Whoever looks at 3 things, his eyes become weak, become dim. What are the 3 things? Bakeshes and a rainbow. Benasi, you look at the prince, you look at the nasi. Or Bakehanim, and if you look at a kohen by Duchen Bismanche Besamim Deshkayim, when the Besamim temple was still standing, Shoyoim din al Duchran, they would stand and do the priestly blessing. Oh, I skipped this. A bunch of lines here. Bekeshes chsif k'ma'ar keshes hashiyah ba'anon. Bekeshes means in the rainbow because it, like it says before, that the Eibishter revealed the keshes when what's it called? When Cheskel had the vision. So basically, now to look at a keshes, if you look at the rainbow, you become blind. So sorry, this is what I wanted to say. So my son asked, well, we have a blacha. So in order to make a blacha, you have to look. How can you look at that thing? So it explains very simple. Is looking and is looking. In Yiddish, there's cooking and ein cooking. There's to look deeply. Yes, you have to look at the keshes, but the keshes itself, we know the rainbow is a bad simon. Really, the rainbow is a simon. The Eibishter wanted to destroy the world, and the Eibishter, in his graciousness, he decided not to destroy the world, and he showed the keshes, and we make a blacha. Think about it even more. We said that the keshes was a vision that Yecheskel saw during the Merkava. That's one of the visions that Yecheskel saw when he saw the Eibishter. He saw the keshes. How crazy, how awesome is this? That the Eibishter wants to destroy the world. Basically, we are all not worthy of being here. We should have been wiped out. The Eibishter shows us, not Stam, I'm going to show you the sun come up, or I don't know, something. The Eibishter shows us a vision of the Merkava. The Eibishter shows us a vision of the chariot that the Eibishter rides in. One of the highest visions. Now you're going to go and start looking and taking pictures and saying, wow, it's so beautiful, and analyzing and looking deeply at the colors. Where do the colors end and what colors is it? That is wrong. That you're not supposed to. To give a quick look and thank the Eibishter for not destroying us, yes, 100%. You can do that. You should do that because of mitzvah to do that. But to now think, we're obviously not worthy. If the Eibishter showed the keshes, that means that we are not worthy. We should have been dead. We should have been wiped out. Now you're going to go look up and look at the vision of Yecheskel, the Maseches Chagiga, the vision of the Kava, and enjoy yourself with it. That is wrong. Zok the Gemara. So that's about the keshes. So if you look at the keshes too intently, you will go blind or you lose your eyesight. The same thing also with looking at a nasi. The Gemara says, how do we know that? It says that Moshe Rabbeinu, people couldn't look at Moshe Rabbeinu. He had to put a mask, he had to put a mask on. And later on, when
did they say also to look at a nasi, like when a woman come out of a mikveh and say, look at a nasi, look at Talmud.
So actually, the Rebbe spoke and mentioned this Gemara also that Kamestakel Benasi mentioned also because he was screaming at the people that instead of looking at Siddur davening, the Rebbe said, "You're looking at me. You're looking at me too many times." So obviously, it means we all want to look at them, and we should look at the thing, but. Again, this
like
looking.
The kashes is looking.
Yeah, the looking is not like what's it called. The looking is like I guess a more deeper looking. But by Moshe Rabbeinu, what the Gemara wants to say, by Moshe Rabbeinu received this thing from the Eibishter that people couldn't look at him. When Moshe Rabbeinu, when it was time for him to give it over to Yeshua, what does the Eibishter say? When a little bit of your glare, of your beauty, of your hoid. You should give, it should splendor. Say in English, say splendor. A little bit of splendor you should give over to Yeshua. You should pass it on to Yeshua. So he says, from here we see that just like Moshe Rabbeinu you weren't able to look at, but then also all the Nasim afterwards, Yeshua, and going on from there, you couldn't look at. When it's Hatam Oidov, you couldn't look at the Nasim. When someone looks at the Kohanim when the Beis Hamikdash was still standing, what's it? What's the Kohanim? They said the Kohanim is when the Kohanim were standing in the Beis Hamikdash, and they would do the priestly blessing, stretch out their fingers and combine and do the priestly blessing. It says once they mentioned the Eibish's name, the way it's written, the Shem HaFaidash, the Shechina came down and rested upon the fingers, and therefore we were not allowed to look at the fingers. If you looked, you would go blind. Okay, we're going to stop here a second. What about today? Can you look at the Kohen? We all cover the talis. Can we look at the Kohen B'duchenik?
I think you have to cover your talis and then look in his direction with your face covered.
Correct. You want to face the blessing, but why do you have to cover the talis? We're not Beis Hamikdash.
You shouldn't be looking to.
And they're not saying the Shem HaFaidash.
What?
Be concentrating on the bracha to see.
So yes, it's a Hesach Hadas, a contrary to the We have 3 minutes left. So basically, Tosfos has a very simple question. Brings the Gemara in Megillah. The Gemara in Megillah says that a kohen that has hands that are not that are blemished, any type of blemish, discoloring, disfiguring, disfigured hand or discolored hand, you should not do duchen, you should not do the priestly blessing. Why? Because, so that's why. Rashi says right away, because the Gemara here says that if someone looks at a kohen, he'll go blind. That's what Rashi says right away on that Mishnah in Megillah. The Gemara later on explains in detail what does it mean that someone has blemished hands. And one of the things it says, if his hands are discolored, someone has white or dark blotches on his hand, what will happen? People will look at him. If people will look at the guy, the kohen, do the duchenin, it's not going to be good. The Gemara brings a story, and it says, I have a question about this. And this is the same. This is one Gemara. And it says in the town of Rav Huna lived in Bavel, lived in Iraq, in Iran, in Iraq. I would say not Natsal. In the town of Rav Huna, there was a guy that went up to the duchenin, and his hands were dirty. His hands were filthy. The Gemara answers it's very simple, because this guy, everyone knew what he looked like, and so it wasn't sticking out. So therefore, the kohen was able to go out, and no one had hesach hadas. No one lost focus by this guy kohen going up. Basically, Tosfos is saying, Rashi says that the reason why we are not allowed to look at a kohen is because of our Gemara that if you look at a kohen, you're going to go blind. The Gemara there says that the story of Rav Huna that happened not in Etzasol, not by the Beis Hamikdash. Rashi doesn't make sense. The Gemara here says the only reason you're not allowed to look at a kohen is because if it's in Beis Hamikdash, because the Shekhinah rested, and when you say the Shem HaFeidash, Rav Huna did not have Beis Hamikdash. The Kohanim didn't say the Shem HaFeidash, and the Shekhinah didn't rest on the hand. So why weren't they allowed to look? So Tosfos explains. Explains that the Hesach Hadas. That's what this comes to. That the reason of not looking at the kohen today is because of Hesach Hadas. Unlike Rashi that says the reason you not look at the kohen today is because you'll go blind. Tosfos says it's Hesach Hadas. According to Rashi, if you look at the kohen, you'll go blind. According to Tosfos, you'll just be Hesach Hadas. And then brings out Yerushalmi. It says that the Chagi said that I could look, I won't get distracted, and we'll finish this Gemara next week. L'chaim, l'chaim.
I